Thanks for hanging out. Interview 260. Tonight's kind of historical. I don't recall in 259 interviews where I've invited someone the friend I've invited, John Harms, who is, by the way, the founder, CEO of Millennium, creator of Mevo 2, industry's most awarded platform. I think I'm going to call it a cloud-based salon software Jedi. He's been around he's been around almost as long as I have. So out of nothing, he's created this amazing something. On any given day, there's 150,000 plus in Mevo 2's community that are logging on and looking for ways to blow the charts. So he's here tonight. He's got an amazing story. I'm going to see if I can get him to give us a little bit of his secret sauce as to what's driving the salons. He's a visionary. One of those guys that doesn't predict the future, kind of creates it on what he's doing on his platform. I'm not going to take anything away from the story because the story is amazing, but he launches the company in 87. I launched Salon Dev in 84, 85. So I think he's like 16, 17, whereas 18 years old, and he launches his first platform, point of sale. He's the first software salon solutions. He's designed Millennium software, created Mevo 2. It's got a cool story around the Mevo 2 and Mevo 1 that you'll appreciate. 150,000 plus users on any given day log into Mevo 2 to use the technology, the data to continue to grow more, better, faster. So I want to get into that conversation tonight. 14 times winner American Spa Professional Choice Award. Just decided 20 times Launchpad for Reader's Choice Award. 5-time winner Behind the Chair. So you can see he's been to the promised land a few times, and as he'll share, he knows how to take the road to hell and come back as well as the stairway to heaven. So if you're turned on by anything that we're going to be saying tonight and you want to speak to him or contact him, there's a couple different ways you can do that. MillenniumSI.com is the website. Speak Millennium is the Instagram handle. You can DM him there. And Millennium Systems International, Facebook. He's got a couple of really cool private communities, but you have to be a client, a salon to get into those. He made an exception. He lets me hang out, but so I just love being with him and his people because I think they're on the edge of some really cool stuff. At any rate, without any further ado, he's in my green room. I'm going to bring him out. We're going to get him talking about his story because his story is off the charts. And then what we're going to do is see if I can get him to share some of the stuff that I love about Mevo 2 and what he's doing with the community and what he's doing with the data. So there he is here. I'm going to unmute him, and you guys are going to make him feel welcome, please. John, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well, my friend. Thanks a lot. This is a real treat to have you come on and chat about your story and what you're doing in the industry. You're just really on a roll. So thank you.
Hey, I'm excited and feel very lucky to be here with you and to call you a friend, my buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, we should just record every time we talk. We could just save that and send it out because every time it's like we're geeking out, like you said. And I really, really enjoy speaking with you and the community that you support.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to get into the conversation with you, but I always love to start with the story because it gives, it's personal. And it gives the history gives us an appreciation of where you've been, what happened, where you're at now, a little bit about where you're going. And then I want to talk about what you and I geek out about probably on a weekly basis, this incredible community you have going and all of the curated data. So get us started. Tell us the story.
Sure. So I always get asked, how did I pick the beauty industry? And the funny beginning of the story is the beauty industry found me, thank God. I was actually writing some software as a 16-year-old kid. I taught myself programming, just 2 years before that, my parents and my five brothers and sisters, soon after that, moved from South Dakota. So now you know somebody from South Dakota.
All right.
To Pennsylvania. And my father's job fell through. So we were actually homeless for 6 months. And honestly, that was the best thing that ever happened, because it just drove me to want more and to work harder and go to the library. I mean, there was no internet, so I didn't go on there and go, how to program. Boom. You know, here's a list of everything to do. I just showed up at a library, started reading books, writing down code, and teaching myself to code. So I started to write code at 16 for a woman called Karen at a place called Services for Product Development. And the short story is I wrote some office automation software for her. But what's cool is she went across the street at lunchtime to a salon called the Village Salon in Tannersville, Pennsylvania. Wow. So she started bragging up, this kid's over there writing this software for me, automating everything I do, and sending stuff to Quaker Oats and Nabisco and all these things that we used to do manually on a fax. We just now push a button and it goes. Oh, and the salon owner, Linda Starner, said, wow, there's really no software really that understands the beauty industry. I'd love to meet him. And so that's the beginning of how I got into the beauty industry. And I promised her I could write something within 6 months. I delivered a point of sale, a very basic point of sale within 6 months. But I always joke about this as well, Michael. I said I should have a complete package with everything you need within a couple of years. You know, pretty confident. I was pretty damn good too. So I'm like, yeah, 2 years is probably even more than I need.
What year, by the way, what year was that?
1987. So 34 years later, I can't keep up with this industry. I mean, you know, Jeannie Wagner's on here. I heard you say a couple other people that use my software. They'll back me up on this, that I am on our community site every single day, all day, into the night, into midnight, answering questions. But really what I'm doing besides giving back is listening. And so I think what really set me apart from the beginning was I was a young kid with no pride, that came from nothing and just wanted to hear what the salon industry wanted and needed. And I think that to me has been the differentiator for us for the last 30 plus years is, you know, I'm not saying the smartest person in the room, but I do believe that our company's the best listeners.
Right. I love the stories about in the early days, and even now, you know, you'll hang out with people on a Facebook private community, but back in those days, you were in the salon, at the desk, at the chair, looking, watching to see what can I do to through automation to make this thing go quicker. And I remember '87, John. There was nothing. In the salon, we had a as fancy as it got was a Rolodex with flags on cards. And I mean, there's a whole conversation just around that, and you know, putting postage stamps on postcards and going to InstaPrint, and it was a big deal when you came and was able to, you know, automate the card file, just to batch load the card file in so you could push a couple of buttons and make things move. I mean, that was a big deal.
Yeah, the funniest thing is what salons, there's things salons wanted and things they didn't want. So what they wanted was a point of sale, but you could have used almost anything for that, right? But most point of sales didn't really understand how to handle services. And then the other thing is they wanted to automate their formula tracking and easily look up formulas or, you know, that type of thing. But what they didn't want, and this is the key to how my company succeeded early on, is don't touch my appointment book.
Yes.
There's no computer that can handle my appointment book. I still want my big thing, and they'd be flipping those pages, erasing, right, asking that client that's been coming for 10 years what their phone number is and writing it down each time. But they did not want to give up that appointment book. And so if I fast forward through college, so my deal with Linda Starner at the Village Salon is I didn't have money for college. So I said if she would pay my first year of college, she would get lifetime updates and never pay for the software again. So I think it worked out for her and it worked out for me. And I'm forever grateful for her for trusting in this young kid at the time. But while I was going to college, every weekend I would go to that salon and I would just sit there, to your point that you made, and listen and watch. And I never even thought about kind of doing the appointment book until AT&T recruited me. So I wrote this first version of the software. I probably sold 3 or 4 of them. It was actually called Salon Manager was the first name. Then I couldn't get the copyright on that, so then I renamed it Salon Solutions.
I remember Salon Solutions. That had to be back into the 80s, front end of 90s.
Yep, yep. So that was me, and that was very exciting time for me. I started doing trade shows and stuff, but at the same time, I got married, and I had a stepdaughter, and I needed to. I really, I needed income. I couldn't just like have a pipe dream that this was going to really take off. So AT&T recruited me, and I wrote their Skynet satellite tracking system, it's called. I also did a couple other things and did very well with them for the few years that I was there, but all the while still working on Salon Solutions, improving it. And then I started to realize that for my company to get where I wanted it to go, I needed to take the one thing that no salon wanted, which was I'm going to automate their appointment book. But I have to do it so right and so well that it would be a no-brainer to use it. And so again, just listening and watching. And what I discovered was the reason they didn't want to use an online or a digital appointment book or computerized appointment book was that the way they do color and highlights and perms are really big back then. I think you probably had a perm.
Yeah, when I had hair, both of them.
But perms and all that stuff, right? So they wanted to make sure that it booked correctly. And what I learned was that the problem with appointment books is everything was solid, right? 11 till 12:30, 12:30 till 2. But the way color works, we all know, is that we have that initial time, then we have processing or gap time, and then a finish time. So I created the first appointment book that really segmented the appointment that way and made that gap processing time, productive time that I could do a men's haircut in while they processed for 30 minutes. So when I did that, and there's other things too that I won't bore everybody with, but it really took the company to another level. I literally left AT&T within 6 months. They gave me a year leave of absence because they loved me there, and I love and appreciate them. They knew what I was doing, and they said, you know what? We're going to give you something that we don't do. We're going to give you a year leave of absence. They go, but we are going to do a goodbye party because we know you'll never be back. And I never came back.
I love the story, and what came up for me is, to your point, the appointment book was the last thing to get automated. I mean, the salon owners, to let go of that was like to see their claw marks on them. And for people that have, maybe got into the game after the turn of the century in the millennium, they weren't around to see that transition. But for those of us that were, that was the hold up. I'll use the computer to do, automated internal direct mail marketing, my point of sale and my inventory, but I will not part with the appointment book. So that was a very, very, very big deal.
Yeah, really big deal. And then, as I started to go out, and I've literally installed my own software back when things were installed, if we all remember that. Yes. I'd show up with discs, I'd pack 8 discs. And sometimes if I wore a leather jacket in the winter, you'd get there to put the discs in. And if anybody's old enough like we are to remember what this sound is, zzz, 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 it means it's not reading the disc. Yes. Something wrong with it. You're like, take it out, put it back in, go, oh God, please. Zzz, zzz, zzz. Oh, wow. I have to drive 40 minutes home, get more discs, come back. And I've literally been in over 1,000 salons under their desk, wiring their computers, installing my software, training. So, and I'm proud of that. And there's so many people in our community that are like, John installed my computer. I've been with him 25 years, and I remember him head to toe dust and dirt under my desk, plugging it in. So they're pretty proud about that. And I'm proud that I did it. I think that, back to, I want this to be meaningful to everybody. There's stylists on here, there's owners on here. I still am that in the grind owner. I am under the desk. I am in there with the developers. I'm on the community site with my clients. Anything I want them to do, if I want them to deliver great service, I'm delivering great service. Yeah. So I just think that the best owners out there are the ones that have been there and done that, understand their employees and their mindset the way I try to understand the industry, and just really roll up their sleeves and get in there with them. And and I'm proud that I know that I'm that owner. They will never write a book about me being a CEO, trust me, because I'm definitely not your typical CEO. But in my mind, I'm still that kid in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, and spike hair and braces, trying to make a living, and just, you know, being homeless 2 years before that. Like, okay, let's keep going. And even my one employee, Matt, jokes around. He's like, "Are you ever just going to be like, just absorb it and be like, wow, you know, we've come a long way?" And I'm like, I know we've come a long way, and I'm grateful, but I'm nowhere near ready to sit back, look back.
Yeah, I mean, you're like me. You feel like you're just getting warmed up. It just, you know, it took a while to get the traction and the momentum. Catch us up to Mevo 1, Mevo 2. Like, how did that transition happen from, you know, on the desk software to cloud based? There's a real story to that as well.
Yeah, so, you know, you saw that we've won every award in the industry almost every single year, 19 times the one thing, 15 times the other thing. And I'm proud of that because it's voted for by people that use it, right? Not some consortium. These are people that actually use the software, saying, hey, our software is great. So it really means a lot to me. But we had come out with a bunch of early innovations. We had online booking. You're going to love this, Michael. We had online booking in 1999 with a flip phone using WAP protocol, where you could actually kind of type in and answer things on your keypad. Nobody used it. So I said, okay, too cutting edge. So then we come out with a Palm Pilot, where you could actually update your formulas and stuff with the Palm Pilot. Very few people use that. Then Windows came out with a Windows phone with not the Windows Phone recent, they call it Windows Mobile back then. And you actually had like a little Windows screen on it and a little tiny keypad. So things on that, we could look up a client, book appointments. Nobody used it. So now I'm bitter. It's 2004. I'm like, we're just going to keep innovating on the growth indicator stuff and the KPIs that I'm really, really excited about. I'm less of a technologist at that point than I am a business guy that wants to see salons and stylists grow. So we kind of changed our focus and really just focused on some amazing reports. We had over 400 in Millennium. They're pretty, you know, I'd say they're pretty famous. I think our competitors have pretty much told me that they used our reports in Millennium as R&D, and it's obvious they did. And, you know, they're great, good for them. But so 2010 or 2008 comes, and this thing called an iPhone, you might have heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
Comes out. So what do I say? Nah, I'm not jumping on this again and wasting my time.
Oh, wow.
2010, this thing called an iPad. It's just a big iPhone. Stupidest thing I could ever imagine. Like, you just took an iPhone and made it bigger. Like, who cares?
Right.
Well, I was a little wrong on this one, Michael. It had legs.
Oh, yeah. It took us to the cloud.
So I dove into building our cloud system in around 2010. It took about a year and a half of a lot of research and stuff to really start building it. And then we started building what is now known, or was known, as Mevo 1. And it was beautiful, just like Mevo 2 is. But in the middle of the project, $6 million in, and I only tell you that just to tell you like how the level of this, right? $6 million in commitment. Microsoft and Apple get in a fight, and Apple says, we're not going to allow the language that I ended up writing the software in because Microsoft told us to. That was the latest and greatest, and it allowed us to do things that nobody could do back then, and that's why it was beautiful. But Apple said, it's not going to work on an iPhone and an iPad, which is the death of a cloud system. Death.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, I have a commitment to these 1,000 people that signed up for it. Over 600 were already on it. So we finished it up, honored our commitment. And the people that had it loved it. But what they didn't know is that it would never work on an iPhone or an iPad. They were using it on like Microsoft Surface and things like that. So, you know, and the reason I like telling this story is up until then, I can pretty much tell you, we had no hiccups. We probably had no major mistakes. Like, we were flawless. And I kind of started to feel like we were just going to continue to succeed forever. And I think there's salon owners out there, there's stylists out there that are at the top of their game. And, you know, maybe you become a little complacent. You know, success sometimes breeds complacency.
Right.
And so, and it wasn't that I was totally complacent, but I was overconfident in what I was doing, and it ended up being wrong. And so what I did is I really have honored my commitment to this industry. I've never gone to other industries. I've really just loved the industry, and I felt I had failed the industry. And so I tripled the size of my development department. We started over on Amiibo 2, and I said, we're going to write this in the latest and greatest, which now we could, because we were actually, say my competitors, a lot of them became cloud in 2008, 2010. Well, they used older technology, where by not really getting going until 2015 now, after the Amiibo 1 mistake, we were able to use tools and things that weren't available back then.
Right.
So I want to build the first cloud system where the entire thing works on a phone. Not just, oh, download the app and you get these limited 6 features that'll work. I said, we are going to, and it took twice as long to do this, but I said, we're going to have the first cloud system that not only works on every device, but leapfrogs everything that's out there and can work on a Mac, a PC, a Chrome tablet, an iPhone, and we did that. So I just think it's important that we're all going to have these times where we fall down, but I call it leaping forward. What we did is we went from on our butt, where our competitors were just coming at us and coming at our clients hard because they saw this, the company that we were, and we were well respected, trip and fall. Yeah. And within 2 years, we were back on our feet and leapt forward. And I'm very proud of Amiibo 2. And anybody that knows me knows, like, there's a lot of clients that I've had for a long time that were like, we want Amiibo, we want Amiibo. And I literally said no, because you got to do the right thing. And I told them it wasn't right yet. And they were so mad at me. There's some of them that left, but a lot of them have come back, and they understand that I was just honoring my commitment to the industry and wasn't going to say jump on board until it was ready. So in 2016, end of 2016, we launched Amiibo 2. Our first client was actually a 2,000 location salon chain. So really got to work it hard right from the beginning, and it allowed us to really just build this thing right. So it's build mobile first this time and multi-location ready this time. So if you're a single location and add a second location, the cool thing is you just go in and say, I'm adding a second location, and it automatically, your single location was really a multi-location of one, the way we designed it, so that when you grow or you expand, all of a sudden your services and products just become available in the second and the third and the fourth location. So we just did a lot of things right this time, and very proud of it. And but I'm back to just really focusing in on how we can help salons grow. They get past how pretty it is quick, and the fact that it works on their phone, that's great, but help me grow my business. And that's really where my passion's at, and where our friendship really has spiked in the last couple of years, especially through COVID and all the things that went on during.
Yeah, I mean, when I got to know you, it was somewhere in that transition. We went from, you can either be PC or Mac, but you can't be both. And it was like, that's the first thing that you dropped on me, and I went, it caused me to take pause, that it made no difference, and that it was 100% mobile first. And as I've watched people use this now, and we're not done, almost on a daily basis, there are your people that are in your community that are finding new ways to apply that technology to, like, crush the time curve and get to higher places faster with it. And that's what I wanted to pivot with to you now, John. I want to tap some of your secret sauce and share, while you're on, the first of many features or benefits inside of your mobile first that hairdressers are using, salons are using to blow up their income.
Yeah. So on the income side, I think one of the first things that come to mind are the people that use our online booking and even our system. We built these enhancements or add-ons. So you build a little business intelligence in there to say, if they book this certain service, here's the add-ons that make sense. So now I'm not relying on the stylist to sell that add-on, or if they're online booking, like even Millennium had some great features, but the online booking didn't offer these add-ons or enhancements. So once we did that, average tickets went up 20 to 30%. Yes. So if you think about an average ticket, let's say in the $100 range, just to use an even number and make the math easy for me, to add on conditioning treatment and a salt scrub, whatever that ends up being, $20, boom. Because it pops right up after they select that service, and it's just as easy as going check, check. And when people are in the buying mood, I mean, we all do it. Amazon also bought this. You're like, oh, wow, yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm buying it. It's been great. So that's just one thing. And, during COVID, it's on the digital side, we had to make sure we had docs and forms available for signing forms. We added self-pay so a client can pay right off of their phone, which is more, there's nothing more sanitary than their own phone to be able to finish the payment and do a desk front desk. I mean, there's so many things that every time you think you're catching up to this industry, we're coding like crazy and releasing software every 6 weeks.
Well, I mean, that's really what compelled me to reach out to you, because there were several of people that I was coaching that were showing me that that they loved the online booking feature. And while we're still at the very front end of early adopter there's a number of people that we coach that are there, and they're going, Michael, when my client uses our online, they come in at a ticket that's 20, could be as much as $50 to $60 more, because of you built the intelligent in. So as a client is booking, there's like 3 options, and I've had people I coach say, I got many clients that'll take all 3.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden that caused them to get from where they were to $120,000 in a W-2, and it gets guys like that. That's what gets my attention. That's what gets me goosebumps. So now I'm seeing people, hairdressers, that are when the client comes in, they're actually teaching their client while they're in the chair how to use online booking, because they know if the client does, they're going to come in more committed to the service. And then they've discovered, and we have less chaos at the front desk on the way out. So, I mean, that's what I know thus far, and I'm saying stay tuned, more will be revealed. John, there isn't a day that doesn't go by where somebody discovered a new way to leverage that technology.
Yeah. And, I know there's some resistance to it out there. I think, again, being a good listener, we listen to people about, why are you afraid to use online booking? And then you'll hear certain things about, well, I want to control who can be bookable online and what services can be bookable online, when they can be bookable online. So I want to be able to manage my rooms. I only have 5 treatment rooms and 7 estheticians, and we handle all that. But another thing, that a typical thing in the hair world would be, I just don't want them to book color, right? And I do get that. I get that there's consultation you might want to do. So what we do is we teach them that you don't want to take away online booking completely just for the fact that you're worried that somebody might book the wrong color, right? I'd rather you create a generic thing called color and cut that's got the initial gap and finish already in it, that they select, and they don't even know for sure that it's a single, a double, or they just color and cut. And then you put we have alerts in Amiibo where you just alert yourself when those certain services are booked, or if somebody books online. And then you go and call the client and do the consultation there, or if you need to move the appointment, you can. But to just not use online booking for the fear of those few things that can happen, I think is completely old school mentality. And I think you and I have talked that, we're going to share a stat here in a minute. But there's a lot of business being lost, because there are definitely clients out there that will not come to your salon or continue to come to your salon if they can't book at their own convenience.
So give us that stat, because that blew the sides off of my brain box.
Yeah. So the Amiibo clients on here know that I just like trickling out little stats. And I always started in our community site with, did you know ... And the reason I do that is then you can search, did you know ... and get them all in the Facebook thread. So that's how it started, but now it's kind of got some legs, like I said, where I do it each time. So one of them was, the more recent one was, did you know ... that the average salon across the United States generates 32 new guests a month with online booking turned on. So 32 new guests a month are going and finding you on your website, or going to Google best salons, clicking book, or clicking your website and then book my appointment, and they don't have a profile. So they're putting in a profile, etc. So 32. Here's the other kicker. The average ticket, the average first-time ticket of those new guests is $112. So if you do that math of the 32 times the $112, it's $3,500, almost $3,600 of new business every month, online booking. Now, you could argue, well, if I didn't have online booking, at least half those people might still find me or call, maybe. But we also have stats on where a lot of those searches are done, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and I doubt you're open. And guess what? When they go to click and you don't have a book my appointment now, and the next guy does, you've lost some of that business.
Well, and we also know that younger, what is it, the Gen Z, the Zennial genre hairdresser is, I'm going to, before I decide to come in and apply for a position, I'm going to Google top salons in this community. If you show up, I'll go and apply. If not, I'm going to go find something else. As well as they're checking out to see, do you or do you not have online booking, because it's important to them. I think you start moving into Gen X and baby boomer, and you start pushing up against that resistance. But this is what's coming, and I think you got my attention by going, wait a minute, I've already done the math. $3,500 a month, and that's today. You multiply that 12 times, that puts me at over 40 grand. And that's just, that's a simple little large juicy apple hanging on a low branch. I have a feeling a year from now, when we have a conversation, that number is going to be exponential to what is it, the 35 a month. I think you're going to start seeing it at 150, 200 a month.
Yeah, yeah. So that's exciting. And then we've added some other stuff that we've added to Amiibo that's cool. Is we added a combo bar. Combo bar is short for conversation bar. It took me 9 years to get that patent. We just got it like this year. So never give up. So 9 years of talking to auditors and everything, and finally got it patented. But essentially what it does is it allows you, with voice in your phone or typing on a keyboard, to type exactly what the client's saying when they call the book. And eventually we'll extend this to online booking, where they can almost just request what they want and it'll understand what they're typing. But right now it's inside our software. So I could type men's haircut, or let's say the code was HCM. HCM with Michael or John this weekend or next Wednesday. By the time I'm done typing that, the appointment book renders a thing's blinking with every opening for a haircut during the time you asked, and it's only showing me Michael and John in the book. So you can imagine that 10 seconds, I've already got the information I need.
Yes.
To be able to service that client. And you can take out the prepositions like with and everything, and it will still recognize it. So that's the other innovation that we did, because I just felt like I need to keep innovating for the industry and what's more important to them. And we're talking about online booking, but what's more important than the appointment book itself? So that's a cool innovation. But I think I'm excited also. I think this is at least a 4-part series, and my guess is it'll become a 400-part series if we both have our, but at least 40. But anyway, in one of the other parts of the series, we're actually going to show some ways that the salon can actually increase their SEO, be seen on the best salons in my area much easier. And again, you'd be surprised that it's kind of just shows my mindset of where we're going at Millennium and Amiibo is, yeah, the point of sale is important, and the appointment book is important, and the KPIs and reporting, that's my passion. I mean, anybody that uses Amiibo and Millennium will, they're the ones that really know the deep understanding of their data. But what I'm excited about is some of the other stuff we've done with online presence management, reputation management, because again, if my passion is truly about helping a stylist or a salon grow, it's so much more about their digital footprint than just whatever's inside, my software.
Yeah, what I'm getting at from this whole thing is, especially since COVID, the point of sale, or I should say cloud-based point of sale component, has become the epicenter in a salon, and everything is stemming from it. And now that the point of sale automates, in a summit community, automates, and there's an artificial intelligence that drives that, where the conversations are happening on a mobile device. So it's just going on and on and on. That's why I'm really excited about keeping the conversation going with you. As you said, I'm going to make you promise me tonight that, on a regular basis, we geek out about this, and every time we come together, it's, did you know that? And then now but what's cool about this is we have a community with you of 150,000 plus hairdressers, where we can watch what are the best practices that they're using to drive that metric. So I think once again, we're predicting futures by creating them.
Yeah, and what I love is, I remember back in the day that they would just publish things in the magazines, right? And you would just have to believe it. Like, oh, I guess the industry average new client retention is 35% because that's what it said in the magazine, and some smart person figured that out. What I love about what I get to do now in the cloud is I can mine data anonymously. So I'm never looking at any specific person's data, but I am allowed to do it holistically and get I'm a kid in a candy store. Imagine being in your brain, Michael, and now everything that brain comes up with is just query away. You know, and there's,
well, you and I were geeking out a couple of weeks ago, and you were giving me a stat on average ticket nationally, and we were just thinking out loud, and I said, it'd be interesting to benchmark that average against your top 5-10%, and just see how much exponentially more that metric was. And it's just, you turn one rock, there's two more to turn. And what I'm saying to the people that are watching this tonight and will be watching it is, this is a conversation that we're going to keep going, that every time we show up, we're able to bring another batch of secret sauce that empowers the salon to get to places more, better, faster. So this has been just a great half hour with you, my friend.
Yeah, no, it's great. And our goal for these next parts of the series are to bring up these things, did you know, and now you know, and give you real data. But more importantly, what we're excited about is, okay, so then how do I go from an $87 average ticket to a $118 average ticket? And again, I hope everybody uses Mevo or Millennium. I do, but they don't, right? Not yet. So my goal is not to just push what we can do in our software, but that everybody listening is going to learn things they can do, regardless of what software they're using, to really bring that average ticket up, bring that frequency of visit up. We'll talk about some more powerful things and statistics. I showed you the other day, Michael, you were like, oh my God, remember the online booking report?
Yes.
I mean, like,
it's unbelievable. Now, here's the other, and I'm actually, you're blowing up my comment dashboard, people that are weighing in. As you and I are chatting, there are people that are, I call it the proverbial holy jumping off place. They're going, wow, this conversation is way more leading edge on this platform than the conversation I'm having on the platform I have. But we all know flipping from whatever platform you're on onto any new platform, that's right up there with I'm changing my color line to but times 10. So as somebody, and somebody was actually asking if I wanted to switch, what is that like to switch? What can you tell somebody that might ease a little bit of the anxiety about when they're making that switch?
Yeah, sure. And I'm always honest about this. It's I don't care what software you're coming from or what software you're going to. It's going to take some focus, attention, learning, watching some videos. Like, you don't just flip the trigger, flip the switch, and you're fine. However, I have 230 employees in my company. 6 sell. 6. I have 60 that just handle onboarding and conversions and making people feel comfortable as they come onto our platform. So first of all, you're going to be assigned an account executive, or I think we call them an onboarding specialist, that's going to listen to you, figure out what data we can get out of yours. We have great conversion capabilities. We'll bring your clients in, your visit notes, your formulas, your gift cards and products. There's things that we can bring into Mevo depending on the software you have and what it'll let us grab a hold of or what you can get out. So it's not as bad as you're going to think, but I will say this, it's worth the effort to leap forward, to use that phrase that I used, be able to have metrics that you used to have to dream of, or metrics that weren't correct. We see that a lot too. Yeah. We focus very much on our reports, and when our users report that something's different, again, a lot of them are on here to keep me honest, we get there and fix it, because you need to be able to trust those reports and that data. And so I would say that I am being honest, it's never easy, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And you're going to be with a company that really takes the industry seriously and has a passion for it. And my employees are just like me, because I lead by example. They are just like me. Yeah.
Now, there are people, you got a lot of raving fans on there saying, I made the conversion, the process was awesome, worth every bit of it, et cetera, et cetera. So listen, we are running way over, but you have to promise me sooner rather than later, I want you back maybe we'll every couple of weeks or so we'll just do a night where we pick up where I'm getting goosebumps now, where we pick up where we left off, stand on the shoulders, and continue to take the communities to the next level, both yours and the communities that I'm a part of as well. So, and you're doing a big powwow for your clients. What is it, October or September?
October 25th is our business mastery. It's going to be amazing education on the software, amazing generic business education. We have amazing people like this guy, Michael Cole, that'll be helping educate.
It'll be my first time there, so you and I need to get together and put our minds together as to what's the conversation you and I are going to engage in when I show up, because we want to make sure that we take another jump.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, the way you resonate with stylists and service providers to me is what just makes them love listening and learning from you. And you've been there and done that. I mean, I've been in many salons and I've never cut hair, but I've been there and done that too, but not to the level that you have. So no, we're excited to have you. And again, it's long overdue. We've known each other off and on for 20 years, but really the friendship over the last couple of years I appreciate it. And every time I have a call with you, I look at it as not a meeting. I'm like, oh, good. And I usually try to do it around lunchtime. Lunch, and I get some Michael Cole time. So I appreciate everybody that listened to this. And I think we have some great things coming in these next 4 series. And I don't think you'll be disappointed, and it won't be a sales pitch. It's really going to be, let's help you grow. Let's figure this out. It's a different industry. It's a different world right now, post-COVID. And the young people coming up have different expectations than the service providers in the past. And so within reason, we'll adapt to that. And I think our software brings a lot of tools to the toolbox to get that done. So thank you for having.
Listen, I think we're, like I said, together it's going to be like a 1 + 1 is 10. We're getting warmed up. I start hyperventilating when I think about when you put our two minds together where this thing is going. So listen, I'm going to let you get back to the fam. Thanks a lot for coming and hanging. We'll debrief this. I think I'm on a Zoom with you guys tomorrow to think through what we're going to be doing at your conference. So to the people that are watching this, if you're not on that platform yet, between now and like tomorrow, get on it, because so we can hang out with you in the fall at the big conference. So thanks, John.
Thank you, Michael. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, we're going to give it up for John Arms one more time, you guys. Stay well, my friend. That was a big deal, you guys. That was a very big deal. So, well, I mean, 45 minutes in, I could go on and on and on. It's almost like you turn one rock and there's 2 more to turn. But he will be back. We will be back. We'll pick up where we left off. And John Harms, founder, CEO of Millennium, creator of Amiibo 2. Now you know why I love to think out loud with him, because he has something that I've never had. That's the technology. I'm visionary. I'm an idea guy. And okay, how do we automate certain things to help hairdressers and salon owners get to the land of milk and honey at Mach 5? I mean, if you've been hanging out with us for any period of time, we are now, before this relationship, getting people, hairdressers, to $100,000 a year W-2 inside of a 24-month window. That used to take 5-6 years, and only 1, 2, 3% of the people that were going there. Now we're moving quickly, and we've made this connection. So this goes on and on and on. We talk about how to compete with the suites and win. Somebody like this with a technology can make that a reality more, better, faster. So we're already into that conversation. So stay close. We have a feeling that history was made tonight, and we'll continue to make history. So I'm going to let you get on with your evening. Can't wait to pick up where we left off. John's already on watching. So we'll get warmed up, and we're going to see if we can put a ginormous dent in the salon industry universe, as Stephen Jobs would say, rest his soul. So have a good evening, and we'll talk to you soon.